listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. It's about time that we invest more in our financial literacy and work towards building generational wealth. If you think you're ready to do the same, then you've come to the right place. Alex, Marlon, y'all ready? Let's get this bread.
Oh man, what's good, everybody? Alex coming in here. We are back with episode 135 of the Money Monopolizers podcast. I'm here with my co-host Marlon. Marlon, how you doing today?
I'm grateful I got the right water. Anyways, no, I'm doing great, man. I don't think I even talked about it before, but I'm probably running like 3 or 4 hours of sleep because I was actually out of town with my girl this past week, and we had a great time overall. We actually went to Montana. Took engagement photos. So
y'all were the first black people in Montana, probably.
Dang near. Because even our photographer said, I usually take like a lot of like white people, so like a lot of y'all pictures look like silhouettes right now, but we gonna fix them up.
Wait, what?
No, because he was showing him, he's like, I know it looks a little dark, right? We're gonna fix it up.
Like y'all look like characters.
Yeah, it's like silhouettes where it's like really dark, us being dark. But no, it was great though overall, man. Like it was a really good time. We enjoyed our time out there, and it was good to, I guess, be away from the business for a bit, because I know ever since we had the staff, like I never took that long of a time off, so that was good to have that little time away. But I'm actually excited to get back into the swing of things now, like to really get things moving forward, because that's one thing about our business right now, for myself at least, is that we can operate but we can't grow without you. Exactly. So
you weren't working during that week?
No, I probably did like 2% of work. It really wasn't much of anything. Like I know I communicated with the with our fleet manager and with our operations manager just to check in on them to see how they were doing. But outside of that, I really wasn't very involved at all.
Nice. Well, so y'all have 3 employees now, right?
Yes, we have 3.
Okay.
So we have 2 fleet managers. One, and I talked with both of them, but it was just really short though.
Yeah. Well, I know it was, like when we was talking before, like I said, I know it's nice to see things happen without you necessarily having to be there, even if it's just operations, because it has to start somewhere.
Facts.
At some point it'll be growth tasks that happen without you having to be present as well. Not to say you won't be doing anything, but there'll be someone else working on growth tasks as well. So it's like, now, because that's the one thing with entrepreneurship, and that's why we try to talk about business the way we do, because if you walk away from your business, it's like, what happens? Does your business grow? Does your business stagnate? Or does your business like die? Right. One of those 3 things are happening if you walk away. It's either we're dying, meaning like nothing's happening because I was the business, I was the systems, and once I walk away, now we can't even maintain. Or you have systems and people to maintain the daily operations, so now business will continue to go, but you won't necessarily grow, but because like you are the one that work on the growth tasks, right? So now, and then the third option is like, is the business going to grow, meaning like now someone else is in place to grow the business without me being there. So it's 3 things that can happen, and starting somewhere is like the most important thing, to see that like, we can still make money, that's what financial freedom is. Yes. We can still make money. It's not necessarily we can grow, but it's we can still make money.
That's level 1 for sure.
Yeah, without me being there. So that's dope to see. Anything else?
No, that was like the main thing. I don't want to say I'm jet lagged. I think I'm just tired overall, just from everything that we were doing while we was out there. Like we did a lot of we did mountain biking. We just took a lot of pictures, a lot of smiles, a lot of cheesing. So just really just coming back and trying to get a little bit of rest. I think I slept like 3 hours last night to make that drive out here, and I'm going to drive back after this. So
how's it feel to be 26 now?
Dang.
When this releases?
Yeah, when this releases, I'll be a week into it, really. So, man, I think this is gonna be a defining year. I think I remember reflecting on it too. I was like, this year, even 25 was revolutionary compared to any year before that. Yeah. And I compare and I hear a lot of people that look at me, especially from as an older age people, like people that are like in their mid 30s or even later. They look at me like, bro, I wish I had your mentality when I was 25 years old. I hear that almost every day, especially because I'm in the morning meetup. Everybody looks at me like, bro, this dude's 20, 25, 26. We're 40, 50. And just seeing where we are, I'm very grateful, more so than anything else, just to have the mentality that we have, to be doing the things that we're doing and being exposed to the people that we've been exposed to up until this point. Because when you really look at any of the 25 or 26-year-old compared to like where we are, it's few and far between that have the same mentality at this early on in life. So I like to take a step back every now and again just to really be appreciative of where we are and the mindset that we have, because it's not really that common.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you got to be appreciative. It's the tough thing for me, because it's like, cool, I'm appreciative, but at the same time, I'll be like, damn, I'm not doing enough.
No, because that's why I had to take a step back, because I'm in my own world, and I'm just pushing like, bro, we're not doing, it's not enough. Like, I'm not where I want to be.
Exactly. Because like people see it and it's like, yeah, you going crazy. Like you doing all this. You only 25, you only 26. Like, sheesh, I wish I was doing that. And it's like, yo, I kind of wish I was doing more.
Right.
So it's like, but that's just, I guess, the paradigm. The paradigm effect, where like you're only going to see it your own perspective. They're going to see it from their own perspective. So at the end of the day, you just got to know. I mean, for me, this is what works for me, because when I was 21, that's what got me to a time, or when you was 21, it's what gets you. That mindset is the same thing that allows you to be 25 and be looked at that certain way. Right. But so now when you're 25, when you're 30, you can be like, dang, you only 30 and like you doing this. I'm like, yeah, and like at that point, I feel like I will be where I want to be. Like in terms of like, it's not to say I won't ever like want to have more, but I'll be a little more comfortable in that aspect.
I just thought about a whole analogy of somebody that we knew. I don't even want to say too specific, but somebody that we knew that was like outstanding in like middle school, and if you rest on that too long, to you? No, I'm to everybody.
No, to in their initials. What was their initials?
Oh, yeah. You said it right already.
Okay.
But if you rest on it for too long, though, people will actually start to catch up to you. Because because everybody's saying, bro, you're so far ahead of everybody, like you're doing so well. If you let that get to your head and you just get complacent because of that, everybody else is eventually going to catch you. It may not be at 26, 27, 28, but by 30, 35, somebody else will have that was working while you started getting complacent. They're going to end up passing you up.
Yeah.
So you have to have that same competitive edge, even though you may be you may be doing better than the majority of people. But if you choose to just be like, okay, well, hey, like if you appreciate, but then like grow complacent along with the appreciation, then that's when you'll stagnate out. And then your best times were back when you were 25. No longer now. It's back then I was doing this, as opposed to I'm still doing this at a high level, or I'm still doing this at a higher level than anybody else.
Right. And that's why you see a lot of times the people that's why that analogy that talent beats hard work, or hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard exists. Because if you want to compare to sports, a lot of people, you peak in high school, but the people that become the greatest weren't necessarily the greatest in high school or when they were young. Kobe, Michael, they weren't not like Michael Jordan. Like there's a story obviously of him not making varsity team or whatever in high school, whatever that story is, going on to become the greatest player of all time. Nobody thought that he would become that. Kobe Bryant, he was like overlooked by a lot. Nobody thought that they would become that, right? But because you continue to push forward, you pass everybody up. So it's like they might not have been looked at as like that prodigy or whatever, but because they didn't stop, they did pass everyone up. And so on the opposite end, if you are looked at that way, you better not stop. Because it's like, and that's a good example of that is LeBron. Like LeBron was looked at as like, yo, he's the next coming of Michael Jordan when he was 18.
Facts.
And so, but that he never, like that never got to him. He almost surpassed his expectations or met his expectations, which at those expectations that he had was very high. And, I'm not like, I don't be on LeBron like that, but like, you gotta like, respect the greatness. And so it's the same thing when it comes to like business entrepreneurship in this sense too, where like, cause for me, I know that generally like, dang, I forgot what I was gonna say. I went too far on that sports thing. That analogy took my mind off of that. But yeah, that's kind of where that's the mentality to have, because I think whenever we are at that point, that's what I was gonna say. Because I know generally when it relates to financial freedom, the people that can achieve financial freedom never settle for financial freedom, right? Because in order to achieve it, you have to have a certain mindset to where like it's just hard for you to just sit back and chill. So when you get it, it's like, okay, I can't even really sit and chill because like this is not who I am. I'm not a type of person. I don't get fulfillment out of just sitting here and chilling on the beach. So it's like, I know for me, I want to get to a certain goal, whatever, certain level. And when I get there, I just know it's going to be hard for me to just be like, all right, let's just chill out. Let's just, maybe it won't be, maybe it will be. I just think it will be hard. Or my whole thing is I'm big on redirecting my energy. So right now it's all about financial freedom and getting to that level 2, level 3. But at some point it's going to become, once I get there, like there's a bigger purpose in my life now in terms of like family and, spirituality and philanthropy and those kinds of things that my focus will shift to. And that's probably for me going to be in the next 10 years.
Yeah, no, I think that's one thing I'm always considering too, is like understanding, and even at this stage that we're in right now is still a season of life.
Yeah.
The business entrepreneurship aspect of it, if you look in the terms of like we talked about last week was the financial freedom journey and financial freedom formula, is understanding that like the phase that we're in right now is a product of the phases that we have been through, which is education, the decrease in expenses, increase in income, all of that. These are just different phases. Even the business building is a phase to lead to somewhere else.
Right.
Like we're trying to get to achieve a certain lifestyle, be able to leave a certain legacy at the end of the day, really. And that all is going to, that all comes from going through these different stages and then being the best that you can be in any stage that you're in. So whether we were doing house hacking, making sure we know exactly what we're doing down to the T as far as making sure we buy the right property, making sure we analyze and make sure that's going to rent out from day one, make sure that the rent's going to be able to cover the mortgage and stuff like that. Then when we get into business building, making sure that we are systematizing it to where it can pay us while we're not working for it. Just every stage, we're trying to be the best that we can be in that particular stage. And so no matter what field that's in, whether that's financial, whether that's spiritual, whether that's mental, whether that's physical, you just put that same level of effort into anything that we do. And that's how you can ultimately leave your legacy at the end of the day. It's just by being that person that went all in no matter what they were doing.
Yeah, 100%. And that's kind of what we're going to get into in this episode today. So, but yeah, good to hear that.
Yes, sir. How was your day? How was your week?
Oh man, everything's been good for me. I'm actually going to Colombia next week whenever this releases, and I'm excited for that. It's been a minute since I
solo trip.
Yeah,
next one. This is about to be a recurring thing. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be common. Just get used to it. I'm going to Medellin, and it's just cool. I'm gonna be out there for a week during my birthday as well, and it'll be nice to kind of just. I just get so much fulfillment from traveling. It's just like one of the things that I just enjoy doing. I don't know what it is. Seeing new places, doing new things, just being in new environments. I enjoy it. And I actually really like solo traveling. I don't know if we did a whole episode about that last year, but I had went to Spain last year, and that was right after achieving financial freedom. Kind of a celebratory thing. This is just kind of why not for fun. Yeah, I don't know. It's just. This is why I want financial freedom. Fact. Literally the reason I wanted it, to be able to do kind of stuff like this. So it'll be nice to kind of just be away and do that and just meet new people and explore new places. And yeah, so that's kind of just what my mind has been kind of been on. But everything else has been really good. I think just this week alone, which we'll kind of transition into we're not going to really, I don't think we should do the business updates and stuff this week. There's not, unless you want to get into it.
I don't have too much to get into. Like I said, I was actually gone most of the week, so things were operating pretty well while I was gone. So I'm actually looking forward to, I haven't seen them yet since I've been back. So I'm looking forward to seeing them on Monday when I do return. So
we're not going to get into that this week because I really want to get into our topic. And I know, there's been like a lot of stuff, or a couple people have died, and this week have passed, and it was just kind of like made you kind of just take a step back and just be like, dang, you could really be gone. This happens every week, like people are every day, like people die every day and stuff like that. But when somebody that you might have been like
that you actually like knew personally, like talking to and everything,
yeah, like when they pass, it's kind of like, dang, you could really be gone at any minute. So that's kind of what sparked the thought of this conversation we want to have, but it's really just based on the whole thing about, because I think generally whenever someone that is like that you knew, whether they were close or not, but you did talk to them, probably even more so if they're close, but if you did talk to them and you knew them, it makes you really think about like, dang, what is the legacy that you're leaving behind? What is like, if I was to be gone here, what would be my legacy? What would people remember me for? And it makes you really think about like, man, am I living the way I need to be living? Am I doing what I need to be doing to be making sure? Because we don't know when we could be gone. Like, it could literally be gone at any point in time when it's that time. And so it makes you really just take a step back and think, okay, is this year is everything I've done, is everything I'm doing what I need to be doing in order to be able to continue to just show people that, you know, I lived a life of purpose, and also to live a life of purpose for myself.
Yeah, because I actually had thought about this particular topic myself when I was on the way up here. Because I was just reflecting on, like, I think just like yesterday, you had sent like 2 different people that had died within the same day.
Yeah.
One of them we knew personally, and like just from high school. And then I'm just reflecting on like I've actually had a family member that I knew personally pass earlier this year.
Right.
And I'm like, man, like life can be very, very short, and you never know when your last day is. Until just at the end of the day, like you never know when your last day, your last week, year, or whatever. And so now that really made me start thinking like, well, how do you want to be remembered? Because a lot of people are living day to day and just coming home, watching TV, not really living a life fulfilled, not living a purposeful life. But you're gonna look up, and you could look up at any moment, and then it be gone. And so if that's the case, how are people going to talk about you at your funeral? Like, how are people going to talk about you when they come, and like, what are they going to say about you? Like, what kind of person, what kind of legacy are you leaving based on the things that you're doing right now? And that made me just very reflective, because I'm like, the things that I want to be remembered as somebody that was like we just talked about earlier, going all in no matter what, just pretty much giving their absolute best effort, not being somebody who was lackluster, and just having something, I guess, to live for at the end of the day is really what a lot of people are in need of, because that's going to allow you to have that just be living like a purpose-driven lifestyle, like us having a goal to go after, that's allowing us to continue to move the needle forward and for that particular goal every single day. So that's really just something that I was very reflective of.
So let me ask you, what would if you you know, past whatever case may be, obviously, you know, God forbid, what would you say your legacy would be at this point? I'll put you on a what would you say your legacy would be right now?
I think a lot of people will see me just based on how they have seen, how they remember me from when I met them, or depending on they've kept up with me up to this point. Right. So there are some people who will remember me as the sadly, people in Pearland especially are gonna remember me as the person who made the big tackle against the guy San Antonio Madison, the quarterback. Right. That's gonna be some people. That's all they know me, because that's the thing, is that this is why I think it's so important to really leave your staple on the world. And as far as like being known for this one particular, being known for one thing, because otherwise people are just know you for those little instances in time.
They're going to remember you for what they remember.
They remember you for, exactly. But it may not be nothing significant. So how do you want them to remember you? It's a big thing. So some people may remember me for that. Some people may remember me for the 4.0 that I was able to achieve through college. And that's all. And they also associated that with being the rocket scientist. Yeah. So they remember me for that. Some people may remember me as Big Swole. From high school, everybody used to call me Big Swole with the super strong grip handshakes. But that all shapes how I want to be remembered, though, because I don't necessarily care to be remembered for that stuff, but that's why I want to be more so impactful to other people's lives at the end of the day. Like stuff like this with the podcast, I really cherish it, because I feel like what we have done, what we have built is very unique, showing people that, well, really pretty much showing and empowering other people to know that it's possible for them to achieve wealth, and through whatever means, whether that's through investing or building businesses, but understanding that they can take control of their financial future. I want to be remembered for that more so than anything else. So that's why I'm very conscious about continuously putting out episodes, continuously putting out content. That way we can continue to leave that particular mark.
So you say your legacy will be then that, would you say that's your legacy, or would you say that's what you want it to be? Right now,
it's not.
Okay.
I would say that because just so the podcast is not necessarily the main thing that we do.
Right.
Right now, the rental cars is the main thing. Even though that's the main thing that I do, that's not necessarily the main thing I want to be remembered for long term.
Yeah.
So, but for me right now, the rental cars is a segue to get there, because that is actually me building out the business, building out a model that is going to allow me to achieve financial freedom, and then be able to really replicate that. But understand that even when I teach people about entrepreneurship or teach people about getting into the rental car businesses, which is something I also do, we teach alongside just general business principles, general life principles that allow people to become a better version of themselves, that allow them to be able to attack any type of business. Because that's why I always used to say, it doesn't matter what business you get into. The rental car business is just the rental car business. Cleaning business, you just pick a business and you can do it. But the fundamental mindset principles is really what matters. So I feel like teaching that is really where I want my purpose to be left at, more so than anything else, because that is really what's going to allow people to be able to make a permanent change in their life.
Yeah, no, that's real. And one thing I will say too, just to your credit as well, I would think that a big part of your legacy as well would just being remembered as someone that was a servant leader.
Yeah, that's big too.
Because I think that is something that is a big aspect of your life, just in the sense like you lead through servitude and just by serving other people, which is just super commendable, because that is very tough for a lot of people. It's tough for me, definitely, because you got to put your ego aside a lot of times, which is just a fact of the matter, and you do that, seems like effortlessly, and just like that's like your natural gift that you had.
I think that is another big one too, just because I think about like the two communities I'm in right now, like shout out Maddie J, shout out David Shans. Both of those communities, people know me in there as just somebody who just came in and just started
added value,
and they pretty much think that I'm part of the staff at this point. I'm just somebody just shows up and just delivers value to other people,
and because of that, they look up to you.
Correct. And so now they see me as one of the experts in whatever field that is. So like if I'm morning meetup, they see me as one of the experts that they can go to and ask like general questions about the morning meetup. I'm like, bro, I don't even, and everybody thinks I live in Atlanta. Yeah. That's on the morning meetup just because of the fact that I'm serving in there. So it's been hilarious because literally everybody thinks that. And but yeah, I think that's another big factor in itself, is just leading by example about how, like, just the ideal way to go about whatever it may be. So like whether it was in football, trying to leave the ideal lifestyle of a student athlete, making sure you go to class. No matter what I'm doing, I like to lead by example about how something should be done. But now I'm also learning to step into the role of actually leading by speaking. Like leading by showing somebody and like telling them this is how and why I do what I do. And so I feel like it's the next step for myself. And I feel like this podcast has been an integral part of learning how to do that. Right. And how to execute on that. Yeah.
No, I think that is a big thing, because at the end of the day, every man specifically, this is specifically for the men, because as a man, you have to know what your legacy is going to be when you depart the earth. You have to know. I think that's something you need to be conscious of every single day. Like, if I was to be gone today, what would people think about me? How would they remember? What would they classify me as? What would they say I did for them in their life? How did I impact that person? Right? Because if you're aware of that every day, I know that what I'm doing, the day-to-day stuff, should be building that ultimately. Like, that should be the pinnacle of like what it's like. That legacy is whatever I'm doing is leading to that, is helping to strengthen that legacy or that image in people's minds. Like, I want to, like I said, occupy people's mind shares in that way, as like that person like was that person for this thing, right? And that's the legacy that I think every man, you should be aware of that. Like, you should think that should be something conscious in you. Like, I'm a big believer that like knowing what your purpose is and being able to recite that and having that like in the back of your head just subconsciously, because it's going to guide a lot of your everyday decision making. Like, I'm going to be able to make strategic decisions like, hey, maybe I shouldn't watch Netflix right now, because that's not helping further my legacy, or that's not helping me attain my purpose. Maybe I should actually read this book, or maybe I should actually go to this network, or maybe I should actually work on my business. Those are the things that might actually lead to, and it by the way, your legacy don't even have to be nothing financial. Your legacy, because here's the thing, I'm a believer of the fact that everyone's not put on this earth to be wealthy. Everyone's not here. We're not all here to be billionaires, millionaires, whatever. Some people are here literally to just, like, for example, someone that their purpose to be a stay-at-home mom, their purpose is to serve their family. They're not necessarily going to impact millions of people, but what's going to happen is they are going to impact someone, maybe that child, maybe that one person that's going to then impact millions or hundreds of thousands of people, right?
That's huge.
So it's not necessarily everyone is, you don't have to think that. And I know if you're listening to us, you probably do want to, build wealth and those kind of things, which, that's why we're talking about in that regard. But generally that doesn't have to be your legacy. Like if your legacy is, hey, I was here to literally just, impact my family, and I help convert people to become believers in Christ, then that was my legacy. Like that was my legacy. And I don't want to make this spiritual thing, but that's the reality of the matter. So I think, like I said, it's important to be aware of that so that you can be acting your purpose, and like, hey, I'm doing what I need to be doing on this earth. And a lot of people, they don't know what their purpose, what their legacy should be. But at that point, I can't tell you what it should be. That's up to you to really find that and figure that out.
I think that's spot on. Like, especially for young men out there, I think for one, having the purpose and having your personal purpose identified will allow you to understand, are you leaving the legacy that you want to live at the end of the day? Like once you identify that purpose, I think that's where you can start measuring how much in line are you with what your legacy what you want your legacy to be versus what your purpose is, because that should be kind of guiding you in that direction.
Yeah.
At the same time, I want to ask you the same question. Like, do you think that your legacy that you will be remembered for right now is in line with what you want it to be?
I thought you'd never ask. I definitely think so. Yeah, 100%. Because
and also identify what it is too.
Yeah. So what identify what?
Identify what would you think your legacy would be if you were off the face of the earth today, and how is it in line with what is it in line with where you want it to be? Yeah.
So I think about this a lot, especially over the past month or so. I've thought about this. Just I don't know, just being reading a lot more of scripture and things like that. I've thought about this because it's just something you think about. And I know for me that one of the reasons I was put onto this earth, I know for a fact, was to inspire other people to achieve whatever it is, to be great at whatever they want to do. Just like I'm a believer, that's what Kobe Bryant was put on earth to do. Kobe Bryant was put on the earth to show people you can be great at whatever it is you want to do just through sheer self-determination. That is, I believe, what his legacy was, and he did it fantastically. Absolutely amazing, because he inspired me. And I'm a believer that is also my legacy, also my purpose, to inspire other people, to show them they can be great at whatever it is they want to do, right? And do that through example. He did it through example in his life, through sport, because I know that sport is an easy way to, or sport is obviously a great way to, like, it's analogous with life in general.
Right.
And in my life, business and financial success and wealth is analogous with life in general as well. And I'm a believer that God gives people success, not necessarily for their own, self gratification, but to have a platform that people will now listen to you, right? You will now become credible. And so with that, when if I have success, it's not necessarily for myself. It's because now people will listen to me, and I can lead them now. I have that credibility to lead people, and I will be able to lead people, to a place where they will have success in their life as well, just based off of what I've done in my life. So a part of my legacy is to lead people to get to that point. And it's really just through an example, right? My life is an example as to, like, hey, you can do this, because I didn't come from, any specific situation that, allowed me to, obviously there was things in life that helped me. Like, I came from a great family. I didn't have any student debts or those kinds of things. Like, a lot of things that were good in that were definitely impactful in helping me get to that point. But this is a very delicate subject, because you never want to think that I think my thoughts are everywhere, but I think a lot of people, you never want to say, like, I was watching a video earlier where someone was asking Kyrie Irving, does he think he's in his prime? And he was like, no, I think I'm just crawling into it. And in my head, I'm like, bro, you definitely been in your prime for a minute. And I think a lot of people, you don't want to necessarily believe that you're in your prime, because if that's not in line with what you thought where you would be at that point, then you don't want to say, oh, I'm in my prime, or I'm, doing what I'm supposed to be doing. In the same way, I say that because like if someone says, hey, do you think if you were to die, you would have left your legacy? A lot of people will say no, just because they believe that their thoughts are not in line with their thought in their head of where their legacy was going to be. It's not in line with where they are currently in life. So you don't want to believe that you are. But I'm a believer that I have lived in a way that has shown people like, hey, you can work hard in any aspect and you can become great at anything. You can, whether it is, financially, whether it is physically, whether it is emotionally, spiritually, whatever the case may be, like just strictly through working at it, you can become great at it. Strictly through determination and perseverance and hard work, you can become great at it. And because of that, I've had success in my life in a bunch of different areas, and I'm going to continue to have success. And that's going to continue to give me more of a platform to be able to lead other people and to show other people that they can do this as well. So that to me is my legacy, and that is, I think, I'm living in it every day.
No, I think that's a great response to it. In regards to like when you are leaving your legacy, or not when you're leaving the legacy, when you are defining how successful that you have become with that, I think in terms of like there's levels to you being able to like live that life fully fulfilled. Yeah. And so like for myself, if I was to die today, I would say that I'm having achieved the level that where I really want to be at. Like when I'm all set, when everything is said and done, when I leave the face of this earth, I don't think I've even scratched the surface of where I actually am called to be at.
100%.
So that's why I think.
But that's different from where you are at this point in time. Have you been working in your purpose, in your legacy? Yeah. Because I don't think I'm 2% of the way there, if that. Maybe 10%. I mean, maybe I'm being, facetious, but I don't know. Who knows what percent of the way out there? And this is not in any, again, not financial or nothing. Just in the sense of like, by what you have achieved compared to what you've achieved now. But I know that every day I'm living in accordance to that. And I know that every day, if someone sees me right now, a lot of people might. The only difference that changes when I'm at that point now, more people know me. Facts. But the people that know me now, they will say the same thing that more people that will know me in 10, 20, 50, 40, those people are going to say the same thing that people say now. I think
that brings it back home perfectly. So basically, if you're living in accordance with how your legacy is to be left, the people that know you will be the ones who are already saying what people in the future are going to be saying. Yeah. Because it's not that I'm doing anything different. I may be at a graduated stage, but I'm doing the same thing with the same type of effort and mentality that I will be doing later on down the line. Just that now my platform is much wider, so now more people are saying the same thing, but it's always been in line with the original thing that I was like, the original me going following that purpose and leaving the same legacy I would be living like later down the line.
And this is why I tell you, I've said this to you multiple times. It's like where people like look at me, it's like, dang, this dude's, he's smart or whatever, he's doing all this stuff. And it's like, yo, I'm the same person I was when I was 12 years old. Since I was 12, I've been the same person. I've had the same mentality.
What happened from 1 to 11? I need to figure that backstory out now, because at 12, something just clicked. So
I just say 12 because it's like, it's just an arbitrary number. We could say 10, but I probably don't have much recollection of my thoughts at that time. But I know generally when I was into my teenage years, I'm the same person. Like the same stuff that like, and it's not to say it's not the substance is not the same, but the motivation and the mentality is the same. And the substance just changes. You flip things out and you get the same result. That's why I could do anything and be successful at anything. That's why every aspect of my life looks a certain way. Like it looks like, dang, this dude has it all together. It's because I approach everything the same way. So now when people say like, dang, you this type of way, I'm like, the people that knew me, and as a kid, obviously only people that know you is your parents and maybe 2 friends. So it's like, but my parents and those 2 friends would say the same thing. Facts. About me now that they would say then. Now 10,000 people know me, whatever. Those people would say the same thing that those people would say. 50 years ago, 50 years, 1 million people might know me. They gonna all say the same thing.
New question then, because you mentioned how the parents and your like the people around you are saying a certain thing. Do you think that somebody can see what your legacy is, like that you're leaving. Like, do you think somebody can see the legacy that you're leaving before you actually see it for yourself?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yes, if they know you well enough, though, because if you want to say like your parents or something, your parents can see something in you before, like, because you obviously as an adult, you have more of a perspective on life than a kid does. Mm-hmm. So as a kid, they're just doing things like my parents could see me like, dang, this kid is like, just, he's working so hard, he's trying so hard, but I don't necessarily know that this is like something that's that not a lot of people in life do.
Right.
I'm just doing something that's like, this is just how I do things. But my parents will see that and be like, dang, that kid is going to go far because he's just working hard at like whatever he's doing. And at that time, it's like things that don't matter, but I'm still working hard at it. I'm working hard playing, the game or whatever. And it's not even like playing a game as in like I'm being lazy. It's like I'm trying to be good at the game. Like I'm trying to be a master of the game.
Yep.
And it's like it's upsetting me. So to see the passion and to see me raging or getting mad at it, it's like, dang. Like most parents will see like, dang, stop worrying about that game, whatever. Like stop getting mad at it. But it's like, what if your parent sees it's like that kid has passion? That kid is just like trying to be great. And you see that in multiple areas. Like, dang, that kid, look, now he's playing football and he's working out this hard. In school, he's keeping up in his grades. He's doing all this so hard. It's like, you see that. But again, you're a kid. You just think this is just what I do.
Fact.
So this is like that's why I say I've been like this, me personally, since I was young, because this is just how I am. But other people as an adult, you'll see it and you could be like, yeah, that kid is going to do a lot. He's going to leave a legacy.
Yep. And I mean, I asked that because I don't know how well they have to know you, because I feel like people just watch from afar. They just spot a different presence when somebody is really operating in just like their natural born like purpose and gift.
Yeah.
Like when they're just doing what they naturally are born to do and they're doing it at a high level, that's high level to most other people. They just catch it innately. They just see it. Cause I really thought about like what the things people would say to me back in college. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you the number of times that people said, bro, you're gonna be somebody's boss one day. I know for a fact, talking to that guy, I did. As far as me and 18 to 20-year-old me was not planning on being nobody's boss. Now, I'm not saying that that was the exact trajectory that I was going to go in regardless, but I think they were seeing something in me that I didn't see in myself, because just based on how I approached everything else in life. Mm-hmm. So approaching grades, approaching football, approaching just day-to-day living, I approach it with a certain level of excellence. And I think that's what I've always embodied. No matter what I'm doing, I'm gonna give my absolute best effort in that particular thing.
Yeah.
In that particular window of time. Even me working out back in high school and junior high, like I'm going to give my all to like making sure I'm consistent doing the same correct action every single day in order to get to the next stage of my life. So I apply that same exact mentality no matter what I've been in, and that has really yielded me to I guess other people were able to see like that is a little bit, that's unnatural in a way.
Yes.
What I'm doing is it's very inspiring for other people to see, because they just don't see that happen often enough. So now they deem that as a certain level of legacy that's being left from me in particular, and compared to what they see other people doing. And
that is your legacy. And that's why I say, if you was to pass, then yeah, you will have left your legacy because you've been living in it naturally.
Correct.
Like that was you. You've been doing it. If that's what you wanted, your legacy, like you've been doing it, but you do it to the best of your knowledge. Like now your knowledge changes to the point where like, okay, I want to do it through speaking now. I want to do it in other ways. So now you kind of navigate towards that, right? But to that point, you can't control kind of what you don't know till you get to that point. So if I was to pass, God forbid, then hey, I've done everything I could in my power, to my knowledge, like there's no doubt in my mind where I'm like, dang, I didn't do what I should have done. Like I didn't inspire people. I didn't leave people like knowing that they could have achieved greatness in their life just through like seeing me and being an inspiration to them. That is what I want my life to be. And I know to this point, like, yeah, I've been able to, and that's why I say you should be able to say like, yeah, you've been able to do that too. From my perspective. Yeah. From my perspective, I know you say like, yeah, I haven't got everything, but like to this point in time,
I would say no. Yeah, if I extrapolated just based on like where I've been to this point, I definitely have left a life fulfilled for a lot. Interesting.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. But no, I definitely think that I've been impactful to the point of where I've gotten up to this day, at least.
Yeah.
As far as people seeing me and being able to have that level of inspiration and being able to be the best version of themselves, or being inspired to do so based on what I've done, I just see that the job is not finished, basically.
Yeah.
And I think that wasn't really even the question in the beginning, but so you answered the right question.
Yeah.
So me going to the next level now is
You
thinking,
just took it to the next level.
I'm just thinking about how far can that legacy go, especially for somebody who is meant to impact lots of people, and that is like the next step.
But that's
myself.
the only thing that's going to change.
Right.
It's the number of people
Correct.
that get impacted.
But as far as how the legacy is left, it's remains the same.
Because I can't control the number of people.
Yeah.
Until we get to that. Now, if it's 50 years down the line and I've impacted the same people, then something along the way I didn't do right.
That's a fact.
Now it's like I got to look at myself like, okay, I could have did more to impact more people. But if I know I impacted hundreds of thousands, millions of people, and that was, through my life and my life, hey, and that's why I say every single day, if I can live, and I'm not saying every day I'm like perfect and I'm doing working hard. No, but generally most days, if I can work hard and be an example and show people that they can do things as well, then I know, hey, when it's my time, hey man, God, I got my bags ready. I'm ready. I'm gonna be right there. I did what I feel like I was called to do. And that's the reality of it. And that's why I think everyone, you just got to be aware of that. It has to be top of mind, or at least back of mind, so that you can know that every single day, for me, when I do things it's to the point where even if I know I was supposed to go to the gym and I don't go for it very rarely happens, but if I know I was supposed to go to the gym and I don't go, has nothing to do with necessarily impacting people's life, but it's a part of my legacy, knowing I do day in and day out. I know I'm putting in the work. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. If I slack off here, if I don't do this, if I'm not spending 5 hours every day at least working on my new craft or my new skill, trying to improve that so I can level up to the next level, get more success and impact more people, then I know I feel bad about not doing those things. I feel bad about skipping. I feel bad about doing I feel shame if those things happen. That's just the reality of it. And that's why I know I live in my purpose, because I very rarely feel that. I very rarely feel that shame, because I know every day I show up, and that's just the reality of it. So I a lot of my mentality, a lot of myself comes from Kobe Bryant. I seen a lot of that stuff from him, and his death, his passing was the biggest wake up call to me, because it was I thought this dude was almost invincible.
Facts.
And when he passed 2 years ago, it was kind of okay. It's crazy how literally his life was just all about sport and basketball, and then he died. It's literally God put him on this earth to impact people through that and nothing else. Because it's crazy. He was already about to start impacting other people. He already won an Oscar. He was about to get into he was about to become great at a bunch of other stuff. But God was this is all I needed you for. This is just the reality of God. Only, he used him for that purpose, impacted, he inspired, impacted millions of people. And I think he, is smiling down in heaven right now, because he left his legacy. He lived life the way, or he lived according to his purpose and his legacy.
Yep. And I think even his early death, that in itself can be another kick in the butt for a lot of people just as a reminder that nobody is immortal and nobody's time is promised any certain amount. So I'm just going back to full circle to the whole reason for the episode is what are you doing with your time today? Because a lot of people are going to just let days go by. It's I can wait till tomorrow to do what I could be doing today. And your legacy is being defined every single day, whether you know it or not.
Yep.
And you need to be figuring out is it in line with where you want it to be at?
Yep. Especially every time someone looks at you, you are impacting your legacy. Yep. Every time someone thinks of you, your legacy has been impacted. So you have to know that your actions are going to dictate their thoughts on your legacy. And that's the reality of it. So you have to hold yourself accountable in that aspect. And you have to know that, hey, everything I'm doing every day, I'm showing up to make sure I'm leaving my legacy. It's not even about financial. It's not about business or money. It's nothing. It's whatever your legacy should be. If you're here to serve a family and to create, believers here on earth, then that's your legacy. You need to be living into that every single day. So,
yes, sir.
That was kind of what I want to get into. I think that was a great conversation. So what we'll kind of do now is we'll wrap up the show with our last segment, which will be Ask the Monopolizers. We got a couple questions. We'll answer one, and then we'll kind of wrap it up.
How can I be successful? How can I follow the path that someone else has laid for me to be successful?
Ask the Monopolizers.
So, Marlon, what is our question for this week?
Yes, sir. So we had one from Hood Investors on Instagram. It says, "Hey guys, I've been watching the show consistently about a year now and it's helped me create a few things. I would like to ask, how do you both do your split with the business on the cleaning side and the rental car space? Thanks a lot. I love the show." I guess I can go first with that.
Go ahead.
I would say to really reference back to episode number, forgot the episode number, with Profit First.
129?
129, is it? That's Pay Yourself First.
124 then, or 120.
I was about to say 122. Nope, not 122. Profit First is episode 120.
Yeah.
So that episode, we really went in depth into talking about how we pay ourselves from our business. As far as the percentages, those vary based on where you're at in your business. Because I wouldn't even say to just take our model, because I can tell you what our percentages are, but if your business isn't ready for that, then you're essentially going to be killing your business really early on if you're not ready to pay yourself the amount that we pay ourselves. Not saying that we pay ourselves a lot, but sometimes people can't even afford to pay themselves 2-3%.
Yeah.
So you had to really start where you are. So really what I recommend doing, you can get the book. I would really recommend doing that more so anything else. Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. He will explain like as far as how to figure out where your initial percentages should be. But as far as like how we do it though, take the initial income that comes in from the business and split up into those four different bank accounts. There's your operating expenses, which is probably gonna be your biggest pot. Most of that's gonna go into operating expenses. That's how you run your day-to-day business. You're gonna put into profit, which is actually should be number one, profit first, which is your business profit, not your personal pocket profit, but your business profit. Then you put in for taxes, just putting away for that from the gross income. And then lastly is your owner's compensation. That is how much we're paying ourselves from the business. And that allows us to know what our financial freedom number is. Now you can backtrack to say, if I want to pay myself a certain amount in owner's compensation, I need to make X amount within a business. So let's say, just to take a round number for a second, if I want to make $200 in my owner's comp account per month and I pay myself 20%, that means I need to make 1,000 throughout the month in order to pay myself 200. And so that's how you can backtrack the math and figure out how much do I need to be making from the business to be able to pay myself a certain amount personally.
Yeah, man, I'm not even gonna add nothing to that. I think that's spot on. We literally run it the same way, just kind of different nuances to it. But camera too hot. We kind of do that. So I'm not gonna add nothing to that. That is just I think spot on. So great question. But yeah, if y'all have any questions, definitely hit us on IG Money Monopolizers at Money Monopolizers. DM us #AskTheMonopolizers. But yeah. That's it for this episode of the Money Monopolizers podcast. New episodes will be released every Thursday and will be available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search Money Monopolizers wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, we'd appreciate if you rated us 5 stars and left us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can find out more info about us on IG at Money Monopolizers. We post informative content on there that'll keep you engaged. So be sure to check that out and share those posts. But until then, we're out of here.
You've been listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. To learn more about how you can be in control of your money, visit moneymonopolizers.com. We'll catch you next time when Alex and Marlon share more personal finance and wealth creation tips with you. Now it's time to take action.